Thank you for your hard work today. It's time for the Book Summary Library to deliver useful knowledge to you who are working hard every day while taking a break. Let's learn at a leisurely pace with Lena. This time, I will explain Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's creativity, flow, and the psychology of discovery and invention with all my heart. When you hear the word creativity, you tend to think that it is a power that only people with special talents have. But in fact, creativity can be cultivated by anyone. Of course, it requires a little trick and environmental ingenuity. For example, when you were a child, have you ever had the experience of time passing by in the blink of an eye when you were drawing or making something? That is actually a state called flow. You become so engrossed in what is in front of you that you don't care about anything else. Such moments are the key to generating creative ideas even as adults. This book introduces a lot of systems, ways of thinking, and specific methods for increasing creativity. When you want to come up with new ideas for work or enjoy small improvements in your daily life, the knowledge in this book will surely be useful. Let's go on a journey into the world of creativity with Lena. 1. Creativity is born from a system. When we think of creativity, we tend to think that it is born only from genius, inspiration, or intuition. However, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi teaches us that creativity is born from a system. This system is made up of three things: a domain, a field, and an individual. First of all, a domain is a field in which knowledge and skills are accumulated. For example, painting, music, mathematics, medicine, cooking, etc. are areas that we learn and explore professionally. To be more specific, the new painting style that Picasso challenged, Cubism, was born in the domain of art at that time. Next, a field is a group of experts and evaluators related to that domain. In art, gallery curators and art critics, and in music, music producers and performers are the fields. When they evaluate new ideas and works and acknowledge that this is new, creativity finally takes shape. For example, during the Renaissance in Florence, art patrons and the Medici family recognized the talent of outstanding artists and supported them. And the last, individual, is someone who uses the knowledge and skills of that domain to create new ideas. When an individual creates a new work and it is evaluated by people in the field, the domain changes and creativity blossoms. For example, Albert Einstein brought a new theory to the domain of physics, and its innovativeness was evaluated by physicists, the field, completely changing the world of physics. Only when these three things are combined can creativity spread to the world. That's why in order to become creative, it's not just your own power, but also the environment and connections with people that are very important. 2. Characteristics of a creative person. What kind of image do you have of a creative person? Someone who is a genius, a little eccentric, and comes up with fantastic ideas. You may have that impression. But in fact, creative people often have contradictory personalities. This is the key to unleashing creativity. For example, they can be smart yet innocent. While physicist Einstein was thinking about profound theories, he also joked like a child and showed his humorous side. The genius composer Mozart is also known for telling surprisingly childish jokes. This purity and innocence gives rise to unconventional ideas. Creative people also have seemingly contradictory personalities, such as being introverted yet extroverted. Imagine the writer Haruki Murakami. He values the introverted time spent alone immersed in writing, but at the same time, he also enjoys extroverted activities such as interacting with fans around the world and participating in marathons. This balance is the secret to generating new perspectives and deep ideas. Furthermore, creative people are playful yet disciplined. Picasso valued drawing freely like a child, but behind this was the enormous amount of training and strict self-control he spent. Behind the seemingly free art, there is solid technique and discipline. Having these contradictory personalities allows creative people to think about things from various perspectives and in various ways. So, you too should be aware of the contradictions within yourself and cherish them. For example, you may be serious at work, but have fun in your private life. Such a balance will bring out your creativity. And one more thing we must not forget is that creative people are conscious of their environment. The reason why Einstein always wore the same clothes was to save time and energy from choosing clothes every day, and to concentrate on thinking instead. Don't you think this is a little interesting? By simplifying your everyday life, you can put more effort into creative ideas. Why don't you try to devise a little bit of your environment? For example, just arranging your work desk with your favorite items will lift your mood and improve your concentration. Creating a comfortable environment for yourself is the first step to a creative life. 3. 5 steps to creativity. Creativity is often thought of as something that suddenly strikes you, but in reality, it takes several steps to take shape. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi divides the creativity process into 5 steps and explains them. If you know this, you may be able to generate creative ideas in your daily life. The first step is preparation. In order to generate a new idea, you first need time to accumulate knowledge and gather information about that field. For example, if you want to think of a new recipe, it is important to read various cookbooks and taste dishes from all over the world. During this preparation stage, your brain is gathering a lot of ingredients. The next step is incubation. During this stage, you stop thinking consciously and take some time to relax. The information you have collected in your head is unconsciously organized. For example, have you ever suddenly come up with an idea while taking a shower or taking a walk? That's because your brain is working quietly during the incubation period. Next comes insight, the so-called aha moment. It's the moment when an idea suddenly pops into your head and you think, this is it. Just like when scientist Urquhart discovered Archimedes' principle when he saw olives floating in water, this moment is the most exciting part of the creative process. After that, the evaluation step is to check whether the idea you came up with is really valuable. It's important to carefully evaluate your ideas at this step. For example, when a designer thinks of a new fashion, they actually make clothes and evaluate the comfort and design. In this step, the idea is polished. The last step is elaboration. Here, the idea is actually shaped. For example, a writer writes a novel, and an engineer assembles a new device. This step requires passion and perseverance. But the sense of accomplishment and it's completed is a joy that can't be replaced by anything else. For example, these 5 steps are the sequence of events that a film director goes through, from writing a script, to filming with the cast and crew, editing, and finally completing the film. Why not try something new while keeping these 5 steps in mind? If you take your time and proceed at your own pace, you're sure to come up with some great ideas. 4. The flow state that brings out creativity. Have you ever heard of the word flow? This concept, proposed by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, refers to a state in which you are so absorbed in something that you lose track of time. For example, have you ever been engrossed in your favorite pastime as a child, or even as an adult, when you are absorbed in your hobby of handicrafts or games, and before you know it, hours have passed? That is exactly what flow is. When you reach this flow state, creativity naturally emerges. There are several characteristics of flow, one of which is that it has a clear goal. For example, if you have a specific goal, such as completing a puzzle or learning to play a new song on an instrument, your brain naturally focuses on achieving that goal. And it's important to get immediate feedback. For example, when you're painting, you can immediately decide that you should add more color here, or when you're playing sports, you can immediately tell that you played well. Feedback helps you maintain your concentration. It's also important to have a balance between challenge and skill. For example, when someone who likes cooking tries a new recipe, if it's just the right level of difficulty, a little difficult, but still manageable if they try, they'll be excited to try it. If it's too easy, they'll get bored, and if it's too difficult, they'll give up. So this balance is the key to getting into flow. When you enter a flow state, your self-awareness can also disappear. For example, when a writer is writing a story, they temporarily lose track of who they are and what's around them, and they just feel immersed in the world of the story. Another characteristic of flow is that your sense of time becomes distorted. An hour can feel like 5 minutes, or conversely, a short time can feel very dense. When you enter this flow state, your creativity increases. It's the flow state that allows musicians to create amazing melodies while immersed in their performances, and scientists to make groundbreaking discoveries during experiments. For example, the painter Van Gogh is said to have felt as if time had stopped when he was painting. Why don't you also be aware of the flow state in your daily life? For example, if you decide to finish a task in 1 hour while working, you may be able to concentrate better. Also, by making time to immerse yourself in your hobbies and favorite things, you can refresh yourself and recharge your creative energy. 5. The importance of an environment that brings out creativity. When it comes to creativity, it's actually very important to where you think and what kind of environment you are in. For example, when you are in a quiet place surrounded by nature, don't you find that your mind is clear and new ideas come to you? On the other hand, if you are in a cluttered room or a noisy place, you may find it difficult to maintain your concentration. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi teaches us that creativity is born from the interaction between the environment and people. Renaissance Florence is a perfect example. Painters, sculptors, and architects gathered, recognized each other's talents, and inspired each other, resulting in the creation of one amazing work of art after another. The whole city was filled with creative energy. In modern times, New York and Silicon Valley might be good examples. Artists and entrepreneurs gather and are inspired by the latest trends and technologies. Such an environment produces new ideas and innovations one after another. However, you don't necessarily have to go to a big city to be creative. The most important thing is to create a comfortable environment for yourself. For example, the writer Haruki Murakami always writes in his study at home. That's the place where he can be most calm and concentrate. In addition, ancient Chinese poets wrote poetry in the mountains and by the lake, and monks prayed and studied in beautiful monasteries. It is said that physicist Einstein also came up with the theory of relativity at his kitchen table. The important thing is to find a place where you can easily be creative. For example, some people find the bustle of a cafe just the right amount of stimulation, while others find it best to work in their own room while listening to their favorite music. One of Lena's friends says that she always gets good ideas when she sits by the window on a rainy day and thinks about things. Why don't you think about what kind of environment helps you concentrate and what kind of place makes you feel calm? Just tidying up your desk or putting your favorite plants or accessories on it may change your mood and increase your creativity. Creating an environment that is important to you is the first step to casting creative magic in your daily life. 6. Innate talent versus cultivated creativity. We tend to think that creativity is a special talent that only geniuses have. When you hear stories of geniuses like Picasso and Mozart shining with their talents from childhood, you might think, that doesn't have anything to do with me. However, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi teaches us that creativity is not determined solely by innate talent. For example, the genius physicist Albert Einstein was thought to be stupid as a child. He didn't do well in school, and his teachers even said he had no hope. But he remained interested in physics, and developed the habit of thinking things through in his own way, which led to the creation of the theory of relativity. Charles Darwin, famous for his theory of evolution, also didn't have any outstanding talents as a child. His world-famous discoveries were the result of his tireless efforts and observations as an adult. As you can see from these examples, creativity can be cultivated. Rather than whether you have talent or not, it's more important how much you maintain your interest and how much you continue to explore. For example, even if you think you're not good at drawing, by continuing to sketch a little bit every day, you can improve dramatically after a year. Lena's friend, who initially said he had no artistic talent, started out by drawing for just 5 minutes every day, and now he's good enough to hold a solo exhibition. The important thing is to keep going. And another important thing is environment and experience. If you have the opportunity to be exposed to various fields as a child, your creativity will naturally develop. For example, by experiencing various things such as music, sports, science, and art, you will find it easier to find what you like and what you are good at. Even after you become an adult, it is not too late to try new things. Try cooking, taking photos, or doing DIY. Even if it is something small, continuing to do it will develop your creative power. Creativity is not something you are born with, but something that is developed by your daily interests, actions, and environment. That is why you should cherish the things that you like and feel are fun. These will nourish the seeds of creativity that lie dormant within you. 7. Creativity changes with each stage of life. Creativity changes with age and the stage of life. It is often said that your creative peak comes when you are young, but in fact, that is not true. At any stage of life, creativity according to the time will bloom. For example, college and your 20s are times to encounter and explore new things. During this time, you are surrounded by many inspiring peers and respected teachers. In such an environment, it is easy to find a field that you like and a passion that you want to try. For example, startup entrepreneurs often shape new business ideas with their peers during their college years. On the other hand, when you reach your 30s and 40s, your work and family responsibilities increase. But that is why deep creativity is born. During this period, you will be able to create more practical and useful ideas because you have accumulated experience and knowledge. For example, writer Haruki Murakami also started writing novels in earnest for the first time in his 30s. His life experiences up to that point gave depth to his stories. And when you reach your 50s and 60s and beyond, the wisdom and insights of life will further enrich your creativity. For example, painter Van Gogh created many masterpieces in his later years, and physicist Linus Pauling published many papers from his 70s to his 90s. The depth of life you gain as you age adds new perspectives and richness to your creativity. A pastry chef who Lena knows also tried making a new type of sweet after she turned 60 and created a hit product. Her eyes were shining brighter than when she was younger, as she said with a laugh, "Age is just a number." So creativity can be cultivated and blossomed at any stage of life, regardless of age. When you're young, you have the passion and curiosity of youth, and the older you get, the deeper your experience and wisdom become. All of these are important elements that help develop your own creativity. There's no need to give up just because you're old. Rather, as you get older, your own original thoughts and ideas will be refined. That's why you should never lose your curiosity and keep challenging yourself with new things. 8. Creativity is the key to survival. The combination of creativity and survival may seem a bit odd. But creativity is actually an essential force for overcoming the various problems and difficulties we face. For example, climate change and resource depletion, which we face all over the world. To solve these big problems, we can't just keep doing things the same way we've always done them. We need new ideas and innovative technologies. The development of electric vehicles and renewable energy is also a solution to protect the future, born from creativity. In the business world, creativity is also an important key to survival. If you rely only on old-fashioned methods, you will quickly be left behind by the times. For example, It is a well-known story that a major company that was famous for its camera film was unable to adapt to the emergence of digital cameras and declined. On the other hand, companies that continue to evolve by flexibly adopting new trends and technologies continue to grow beyond the times. To give a familiar example, let's say you are at work and you think, can we make this task more efficient, and come up with a new way to do it. If that leads to an increase in the productivity of the entire team and a comfortable working environment, that's great creativity. The accumulation of these small ideas helps organizations and society as a whole to survive. Furthermore, creativity is also very active in our daily lives. For example, on a busy morning, thinking, how can I get ready more smoothly, and creating a new routine is also a form of creativity. Also, when you don't have a recipe, quickly making a delicious meal with what you have in the fridge is a creative moment. And creativity can also help you overcome difficulties and adversity. 9. The importance of curiosity in nurturing creativity. There is a saying that curiosity killed the cat, but in fact curiosity is the best nourishment for nurturing creativity. Without curiosity, you won't have the motivation to try new things or the energy to think deeply. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi also says that creative people, without exception, have a strong sense of curiosity. For example, astronomer Galileo Galilei began observing the stars out of a simple question: why do the moon and stars move? As a result, he established the groundbreaking theory of heliocentrism. Also, the great inventor Thomas Edison invented the light bulb out of curiosity. I want brighter light. These great discoveries that remain in history all started with small curiosity at first. Curious people value why and how in their daily lives. For example, they might see a flower blooming on the roadside and ask themselves, what is the name of this flower? Or they might try to make a foreign dish they saw on TV, thinking, I want to make it myself. Such small curiosity eventually leads to great creativity. Lena has a friend who is always asking questions such as, why and how? Even after he became an adult, he continued to try new things, and eventually turned his hobby, which started out of his curiosity, into a job. For example, his curiosity, which started as a small interest in, how do you roast coffee, has grown to the point where he is now the owner of a great coffee shop. In order to cultivate curiosity, it is important to increase opportunities to encounter new things. For example, try taking a different route than usual or eating at a new restaurant. I also highly recommend reading books. In particular, picking up a book in a genre that you don't usually read may lead to new knowledge and perspectives. In addition, in order to maintain curiosity, it is also important to not be afraid of failure. When trying something new, you may feel anxious, thinking, what if I fail? But failure is an inherent part of the adventure of curiosity. For example, when a child rides a bicycle for the first time, he keeps trying even if he falls. That pure curiosity and spirit of adventure will cultivate creativity even in adulthood. So, if you feel something in your daily life that you are curious about, please treasure that feeling. Look it up on the internet, ask someone, or try it out for yourself. A little curiosity will help your creativity grow. 10. Habits and routines to boost creativity. When we think of creativity, we tend to think of a free-spirited, unconstrained way of life, but in fact, habits and routines are very important. It may seem a little surprising, but many great creators had their own routines in their daily lives. For example, the genius physicist Albert Einstein woke up at a fixed time every morning and wore the same clothes, saving the energy he would spend on choosing his clothes every day. This allowed his brain to focus on his important physics research. Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg also kept their clothes simple in the same way, allowing them to use their brains for creative things. Working at a fixed time is also an effective routine. Author Haruki Murakami wakes up at 4 a.m. every morning to start writing his manuscripts. After that, he goes jogging to refresh his mind. This is his routine. By doing this every day, he has created many masterpieces. The painter Pablo Picasso also decided the time to enter his studio, shut out the outside world, and immerse himself in his work. By creating a routine, it becomes easier for your brain to switch on and say, "Now is the time to concentrate on creativity." 11. The relationship between creativity and flow. Flow is a state in which you lose track of time and are immersed in something. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi teaches us that this flow is the key to maximizing your creativity. When you enter a flow state, your brain becomes clear and ideas and solutions that you have never thought of before naturally come to you. For example, when a painter is working on a canvas, he or she has the experience of hours passing before he or she realizes, or when a writer is writing a story, he or she feels as if the characters are moving on their own. This is the state of flow. We may have experienced a similar feeling when we are engrossed in a hobby or work. There are several conditions for this flow state. First, there must be a clear goal. For example, when cooking, if you have a goal of making a new pasta today, you can naturally concentrate. And it's also important to get immediate feedback. If you're cooking, you can taste it and immediately decide, "I need to add more salt," or "It tastes good." In addition, to get into flow, it's important to have a good balance between challenge and skill. For example, if a beginner tries to cook a full-course French meal, they might give up. But if they take on a challenge that's a little difficult but seems doable if they try, they can get into flow with excitement. When you enter flow, you experience a sense of self-consciousness disappearing. For example, when someone who loves to dance moves their body to music, they don't care about how they look. They just enjoy the moment and concentrate on their movements. At such times, their creativity increases. And the most mysterious feature of flow is the distortion of the sense of time. An hour can feel like it goes by in the blink of an eye, or conversely, a short time can feel very dense. For example, when you're playing your favorite game, you might think, it's already this time." Have you ever been surprised and thought, "I'm so happy"? That's proof that you're in a flow state. Lena also sometimes enters this flow state when she's making videos. When I'm writing a script and recording a narration, it's often evening before I realize it. But it's at times like these that I'm at my best, when I'm at my most creative. Why don't you also try to be aware of the moments when you enter a flow state in your work or hobbies? For example, you could divide your work tasks into small ones and decide to focus on this task for the next hour, or make time to concentrate while listening to your favorite music. With just a little ingenuity, it's easier to enter a flow state. Being aware of flow will make your daily life and work more enjoyable and fulfilling. Above all, your creativity will naturally emerge, so your potential will expand. Together, we've delved deeply into Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's creativity, the psychology of discovery and invention. Creativity is not something that only people with special talents have, but a power that anyone can develop. To achieve this, I have mentioned that systems, flows, habits, and curiosity are very important elements. To unleash your creativity, you need to learn knowledge in a field called a domain, connect with experts in the field, and generate new ideas as an individual. Combining these three things gives shape to creativity. And by entering a state of flow, your creativity will be maximized. The key to entering flow is a clear goal, immediate feedback, and a balance between challenge and skill. Try incorporating that feeling of losing track of time and immersing yourself in something into your daily life. In addition, by creating an environment and routine that suits you, it becomes easier to switch on creative thinking. Small habits and ideas you make every day will nurture your creativity and bring richness to your life. And above all, the most important thing to nurture the seeds of creativity is to never forget your curiosity. Cherish the feeling of why and how, and try new things one after another. The creativity sleeping inside you will surely attract a wonderful future.